clear to me that their strategy is to push the foundation into bankruptcy, because this was their argument several years ago as to how to handle the whole question of the Empire State Building debt. So what we're seeing right now, many of you may have seen these estimates of Tracy Rosenberg. We've lost a $300,000 to $400,000 fundraising drive, which they've just disrupted. We have the potential of having to pay out, Pacific has to pay out about $500,000 to the SAG-AFTRA employees, almost $1 million in that cost. So they're arguing all the time. They want to get it into a Alameda County bankruptcy court, and they already have set up a dummy foundation, which they can then resuscitate. And I forget, someone can correct me, I thought he named it the Big Tent Foundation or something like that. But they'll go argue in front of a judge in California at some point, at least that's one strategy, and then say, oh, you guys are so disorganized, you're so crazy, blah, blah, blah. Here, take it. And they're going to go argue in front of the Attorney General of the state of California, where we already have a whole series of cases of arguments that have been in front of them to basically argue that Pacifica should be dissolved. So that's what I see them doing right now in terms of what their strategy is to essentially take us over. And we have to face one simple fact out of this going forward. If we'd been financially in solvency fiscally, none of this would have happened. So we have to, going forward, learn a bitter lesson that no 2x4 like this would have been put on our heads if we were not in a weak position financially. We have to change that dramatically going forward.
And we're ferocious about our timekeeping now.
1 minute apiece, maybe?
Yeah, thank you.
Media has shown us that whatever legal progress we make, they do something else to put us back into court again. And the costs are always rising with that, and they're trying to bury us with paper. If we were able to establish that the hijackers had personal responsibility for what they did, so that they were facing prison time and were paying for what they did out of their own pockets, we would have the opportunity to give them the offer: if you will stop bringing more and more things into court, we will drop charging you with prison time and fines. And that might be a way to cut through everything and get them to stop.
Thank you. Right, and then
Just a quick question. This is Tom Weissmuller. I have a long-term association with WBAI, starting from my time in the dorm rooms at NYU in the 60s, all the way through. I have a question. Do the people in this room have standing to sue the hijackers on a class action basis for a number of reasons? I'm talking about financial damages, emotional damages, a lot of things that everybody sitting here can rise up and say, hey, I've been affected, I've been hurt. It will cost us more to rejuvenate the station now that they've shut it down, have to raise more money. Can a class action suit be bought on our behalf? And do we need to sign up for that before we leave tonight, so that you have at least a record of the people who believe they have been affected?
well, I may not have been explained things very well. We do have a class action lawsuit. It is a class action lawsuit. So we have named plaintiffs on it, and they can be expanded, and the various causes of action can too. So absolutely, we need to expand out. We will. We're looking to survive, really, coming the 21st, where a lot of this will be argued. It's not the only lawsuit that's going to happen. Yes, personal liability. Yes, we're stakeholders. Yes to all of the above. And if people are willing to make themselves plaintiffs, right on. And I would ask that John Riley had a sheet that was going around. And by the way, what I wanted to say is, please, not only sign it, but if you have some interest in potentially being a legal plaintiff, just check off or write yes, write plaintiff or something there. So yes, we are going to be broadening out. Mitch Cohn?
Thanks. So one of the side issues that's really a major issue here is that 4 Times Square, where our antenna is located on, is recognizing the other folks as legitimate and not recognizing our board as legitimate. So I was wondering, I'm not sure, I'm asking your opinion on this, can we set up or should we set up a picket line at 4 Times Square and say, we are the legitimate WBAI, and stop taking sides in this way, so that we could get the country music off that they're piping in? It's ridiculous. And
You anticipated one thing. Remember I said, because people weren't clear about this after the appellate division, that we weren't sure that the TRO was in effect because it was vacated from the appellate division. It is in effect. Actually, that's an excellent idea because they are really in contempt of court. I think that would be a terrific thing, and today, notwithstanding bourgeois politicians and stuff, but Dick Godfrey, whose district the Empire State Building is, and who is doing phenomenal stuff around single-payer issues in the assembly, but in any event, he came and he asked what we could do, what he could do for us. It's his district. I think it would be great to do, as one of the things we should get to soon to discuss, an action at the Empire State Building.
4 Times Square.
4 Times Square, wrong place. Right, I'm still back at, but in any event, the issue is they are not recognizing a court order, they are not giving administrative access and stuff, so that's an excellent idea to pursue. I know that Basir had been next.
I'll be real quick.
Well, wait, let me get, it was Basir, then I know you, and I'm sorry, you haven't spoken at all. What's your name, brother?
Nico. But I was
Nico?
gonna, just a suggestion.
Yeah, we're gonna get.
Yeah, 2 quick things. One, those of us in the struggle, we struggle, and very often we don't talk about money. Obviously, everything that we're doing, all of this litigation, if we're fighting Wall Street law firms, we need to raise some money. I don't think my hat is big enough, but I mean, I'll go ahead and start. I think, people need to give some money so that we can keep this particular struggle going. That's the first thing. The second thing, we're in the midst of an election. And we need to kind of know what the status of the election is. That may be beyond what you can tell us right now, Mimi. But the question very clearly, October 15th was supposed to be the date by which everybody voted, and we're in a state of limbo right now. So I think that's an important question. But as I said, if I have to use my hat, I'll use my hat and put the money in it, and we'll take it from there. I think everybody should give as much as you can at this particular point. We got a bag. All right. Come on, let's go.
Sure, if you don't
Well,
have
we
any
are
money,
gonna talk
you
about
will
it, and I
accept
keep
checks.
getting pricked here.
Checks.
Maybe you will accept checks and people can make a pledge if they want to put it on their credit card. We don't have a
Okay, one of
They
the,
can make a pledge if they want to put it on their credit card, and then you come in with someone. Or,
well, wait, whoa. One of the things we were gonna talk about tonight, and we gotta get that set up, is a 501c3.
great.
We've got to do this. We also have an idea to try to raise a lot of money, because one of the things that we have to do is give a month's rent right off the bat to Melissa at the Commons, or we aren't going to have a home.
How much is it?
$6,000 a month. $6,500. So, Nico, sorry.
Which is 1/5 of what it used to be.
I was just gonna suggest that maybe there's a way to set up an
Well,
inexpensive,
Rachel, everybody, please.
just a thought that, because
I'm
this is the
sorry, I didn't
first,
hear a word.
this is the first I'm hearing about any of this stuff, really. I got an email about this meeting tonight, and I just showed up because I haven't heard my programs over the last couple of weeks, so last couple of days. so I figured I'd just stop in and figure out what's going on. I don't know if you've got a vehicle to communicate to all your listeners now, but maybe, is there? Because, so what I'm suggesting that maybe you set up for $20 on, one of these domain names, get like truewbai.com, and at least create a vehicle for people to know what's going on. Just a thought.
No, it's more than a thought. It's one of the things we're supposed to do tonight.
Pacifica in Exile is doing that.
Okay, well, I want to ask, because I'm not going to do it, everybody's like, can we move on and parse out some of the work after the woman with the People's Organization for Progress, who's had her hand up for
Well, what about
and we also had, I think it's Max, Max and Sally. And can we, I'm going to ask you, folks, no, I can't just do it because you'll be the first one who tears me to shreds. I'm asking for permission here. I'm going to give it can we do 5 more minutes before we don't get... Okay, put your final hands up. That's it.
1 minute
The
each.
brother back there had said Max, Lisa, Sally, Fran, can we then call it? Yeah. All right. I'll take it.
So, okay, so it has come to my attention that there are that there are some people who are sort of being courted by the people in California. And the analogy occurred to me that they are like colonizers who have to have people on the ground. You can't, the Romans really couldn't manage their empire, from very far away. You need collaborators on the ground to pull this off. And I know of a few people who have been approached. I know one person who's been approached. I know that they stole a program of John Kane's and put it on their airwaves without his permission, and that's important because they're trying to make it look like they are WBAI, to sow confusion, etc. So this is a kind of psychological warfare that's going on right now, because listeners will also become disillusioned with our struggle, if they think they can, some of them anyway, if they can get WBAI on the air anyway, because they're in WBAI programming. So we have to make a very strong front and talk to people. I'm not saying we should, go accuse and, mob them, but we need to talk to people. We need to make sure that people understand this very serious psychological game that's being played of getting collaborators to come over to them. It is happening all around us.
No scabbing.
That's right.
We're gonna, please, let's be patient with each other and kind to each other. Let's get the voices. You haven't said anything. A brother over there. I'm sorry, you're one of the few people. Your name, brother?
John.
John. Oh, Brother John.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Neal.
I'll be very brief. I believe we should move on to, very shortly to working groups and the work that needs to be done. The other day, I woke up to one of the rogue programs from California. They were broadcasting things from the archives, which they're doing regularly now. And this one happened to be one I'd heard several times before. This is the Paul Robeson concert in Peekskill, where there was a riot in the late 40s. And it was an excellent program. A riot by bigots who were opposed. And after, this was part of a fund. Okay, we were in a fund. WBAI was in a fundraiser and doing quite well, I understand, when the rogue faction yanked us off the air. And now they had a fundraiser going on at KPFA in conjunction with these archival programs. And they put an 800 number out there for people to call to pledge or send money. I called that number, the 800 number, and informed them that I was a person in New York City, a supporter and listener of WBAI, and I'd very much like to donate money to WBAI, but I wasn't really in a position to donate money to KPFA or Los Angeles or any other stations involved in a hijacking in New York City. And they had a lot of chutzpah, a term of art that we use in the Bronx. They had the unmitigated arrogance to ask people in New York City to support them when they were hijacking our station. Our listeners, sponsored community radio station. The woman, I mean, I'm sure she was innocent of this, she had no
John, we
idea.
got 3 minutes left.
And she said she would inform the management.
Thank you. Lisa, it was Max next. Lisa. It was Max, Lisa.
Max, Lisa, go ahead now.
I know, I'm just.
Mimi, in terms of the money, if people don't have cash with them, they can write on a piece of paper their pledge with their telephone number, and then you can follow up on it. That's the idea to raise money. You have to think outside the box. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Max was next, he hasn't
Okay, well,
spoken, then Lisa, and then
thank you,
Sally,
David.
and we're moving on, even if you brutalize me.
Okay. Hi, I'm Max Irwin. I'm a longtime listener, supporter of WBAI. My father was an activist, socialist, I'm communist, working class. I'm giving my credentials because sitting through this meeting, I'm not deeply involved, but I know your voice. You know, I don't know time. I'm not sitting in this room. It's like, seems like at least 50% of the people are professional talkers on the radio, which is good. I don't have those skills, so forgive me for the fact that I'm going to be a little crazy talking, trying to say a lot. What I gleaned from this, and I don't know, your speech is very... Right, so the first thing I said when I came in was, yes, I'm here to get information, but I also wanted to bring up a point earlier, and I couldn't, I got dismissed, but yeah, my sister pledged $99, she's very sick, and she was trying to get the red stuff, and she didn't get her premium. No, the reason I brought that up, I'm not driving that selfish acts, I'm saying there must be thousands of people in this situation. It came up that we should attack these people that are attacking BAI as criminals for breaking in, et cetera, and this is part of the larger class war is the thing that came up from different things that I've gleaned here. So in that context, as a member of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance and Independent Socialists and various organizations, I'm in DSA, but they're a little, but they had a radio show too. We have to organize masses of people and tell them, and the fact that this gentleman, I noticed this, my shows aren't on the air. That was the main reason I was here, just as a listener. But I'm thinking like a revolutionary now. And I would say, I don't have a question, is how, when I leave this room tonight, I'm going to go back to like, I don't know how to get in touch with anybody. I go to the BAI site, I get some shit that's obviously 1984. You know, it's like, you know, we should all maybe exchange
Okay, no, this is very
emails, but also, if there's anything I can do as also an artist, graphics, to help you,
Yes.
I'll donate my labor as a cab driver to go to my union and try to organize cab drivers, because I know there's some leftist cab drivers who actually listen. Anywhere where you need to just show up if you're having a trial or all this legal thing, you know, I'm there for you for that. But that being said, I'm still going to leave here, and so I get.
No, you're not leaving here without getting in touch.
All right.
We're like a fungus, we're gonna cling to you. By the way, Max, thank you. No, there's lots of, but thanks, because what it's really about, it is about the listeners, and it's about their needs and their concerns. So let's be nice, let's be patient, and let's be involving, and so thank you. Lisa, Sally, and then we're gonna put it together.
The technical issue that I wanted to bring up, since we are collecting money, we need to know who's going to be responsible for that. I know we said we're in the process of setting up a 501c3, but we still need to know who's going to take responsibility for the money, how much, and how that's going to be set up, because that has to be very transparent anytime we collect money. So that's something we need to get done tonight, definitely, since we started to collect money.
Now, please, Sally was gonna, and then we're gonna try to parse out some committees so we can get the work done and get our station back, because we damn well need it.
Okay, regarding the elections, I think that you're gonna find that you can't even vote. You know, they've suspended that. And so I guess to be continued with those elections. collection of money, I was gonna say what Lisa said, we need a 501c3, a fiscal sponsor, something. We have to be transparent with this money and very careful with
They
it.
didn't suspend the election, the election is over.
She's not able to.
I understand, but the
People
people
weren't
not
able to.
suspended.
Okay, and the last thing, and sort of in response to what Nellie was talking about, you know, in terms of the Democratic Party isn't your friend, I agree with that. I mean, I'm on the more radical side of the bar. I'm not into the Democratic elections myself. However, I do recognize that one struggle many fronts, and so that's basically what I wanted to say.
Should we pack the court on Friday? Yes. Please, everybody sign on. You'll get an email about that tomorrow because it may not be. This is an in-chamber conference, so this is not necessarily public. So let me tell you what we got, what's left on the agenda and how to do it. There's been the issue of fundraising and setting up a 501c3 and how immediately the technical aspects of things. That's one chore that's really important. The other thing that we were talking about, which is perhaps more for the unpaid staff, producers, etc., but just to let you know, and we don't have to go through that tonight, we will be meeting. We are setting up a BAI in exile to try and bring back all of the programs through at least 2 different vehicles. One is recording on Facebook Live. The other one is we've been talking to both CUNY and M&M and BCAT about a complete roster of all the programs so that we will be broadcasting as everybody, and hopefully more people, as BAI in exile. So I don't know that we have to talk about that tonight, but I wanted to let you know that in anticipation of a long struggle and maybe having to wrest back physically our own signal, etc., when the time is ready, that we are going to try to keep the voices of people alive in the programming. So we're there with the money. The other thing that was proposed.
Do you want like worksheets?
Yes, John Riley over there, red shirt, of course, is going to be handing out some worksheets. The other thing that was proposed, because everybody raised how with the money, 90% of the listeners still don't know what's going on because we don't have the airwaves.
That's right.
And we just came together. It's pretty amazing what we've done in 1 week, but we got to do it. So the question is, we thought about the idea of, and I just want to know if people are interested in working on it, to have a mass New York metro area organizing event at Riverside Church where we would try to raise funds and where we would get our history of stellar community leaders, cultural performers, etc. to come out and really have what should be our 65th bash for BAI. So to people, we've done it before, we filled the place. We did it when they were going to bomb Iraq. We did it like in 2 weeks' time. We've already talked to the pastor there about trying to get it, but think about it. You know, we have people who are history here. We got people like Bob Law. We have people like Nando Avarici, who, you know, they got Tito Puente, who's coming on to SOBs, and on, and I hope that Gary Bird, who Palmieri, thank you. Hey, listen, you be going all day. You're lucky I even know my name. Well, wait a minute, so let me just, yo. Say it.
Okay, so far, we've got $520 in cash. We have a pledge for $100, and I understand that there are a few people who haven't yet given, but they're prepared to do so. So we're moving ahead.
Right on. So wait a minute, I just want to know, is there enough interest, whether I did or didn't pronounce Eddie's name correctly? And it won't be the last one I butcher, but not intentionally. The question is, do people like, would people want to work on the idea of a mass community with meaning that brings the listeners, brings money, and brings the culture and the political leadership? Of course, Mumia should wind up hosting it for us. We can do that kind of stuff. So, all people who would think that's a good idea and something to work on. Woo! So that's going to be
Riverside charges $5,000.
no, free.
Oh, hey,
Free.
my question is very.
They you know, this was the Yom Kippur and all that. They're atoning for their past sins.
It's a little short notice, folks, but Friday night, New York City Friends of Clearwater has their monthly gathering, and we're featuring, Reggie. Reggie will be there to talk about what the latest is. It's at Judson Memorial Church from 6:30 to 10 at the Assembly Hall. Everybody's welcome. I mean, we have it from 6:30 for potluck, and so bring stuff. 6:30 to 10, so we can make that a
wonderful and clear. We have the event coming up at SOBs, but we have people who are interested in this. So before we leave tonight, the right side, but left in spirit, is going to be meeting here to talk about how we can get that going. The other thing is that still would like people to mark off if they're interested in becoming plaintiffs in litigation. I don't know that the other thing that was proposed, there were two other actions. One is, you know, Mr. John Vernile refused to let our management actually hold staff meetings because he never wanted us to come together. He literally forbade them to do that. And of course he didn't want to meet us, and I'd love to meet the man, because if he's going to bring up my name in a lawsuit, the least I should do is be able to say hello. He does live in Tarrytown, and we've just never given him a fitting welcome. So I'm just suggesting, obviously there's a degree of discretion, but one of the things that we did in the last coup is we appropriately made people who would steal our voices and the voices of the marginalized and disenfranchised, we made them very unhappy. Because we took it to their businesses, we took it to their homes, and they better have some skin in the game. So if there are people who might want to think about either Times Square, a picket there, and or saying hello to Mr. John Vernile, they're going to move to the left over there. The idea is, are there other, and this is like a 10-minute discussion, I think given the time, that's what we can do tonight. Tell me, I'm looking for your guidance structurally. Are there other things that we absolutely have to do tonight? It's ongoing. You have my brother there, my sister. Yeah.
Regular meetings here?
Yeah, we need regular meetings. I don't know if we can get regular meetings here, can we?
I can't know right now, but I can work on it.
We're going to try to set up regular structured meetings, and for the lack of, who the hell are we? We're, what are we? What's our name? We're WB, hold it, say it loud.
Staff and Listener Coalition.
I can't hear you, so stand up and say it.
WBAI Staff and Listener Coalition.
Staff producers. But all right, it's not the most exciting.
WBAI Listener and Staff Coalition. It's just an ad hoc name, you know?
You have
We can change it.
It's also producers. Poetic people, listeners, you can be more creative. Think about it for the next 24 hours. We can do better. We will. We will.
Maybe can we have a call-in number that we
Okay. By the way, are there some folks who are a little bit more organized on what we need to do to get the money, the 501c3 and all that, who might help meet over there to help set up a structure for us and a way so that we can stay together? And maybe that could be the third committee. I'm sorry, my sister. By the way, Fran, please. No, you gotta listen to folks.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, please do.
It's Day Queen. I would just like to say, I'm a bit concerned because I went to the meeting last week and it was supposed to be someone working to set up a 501c3. If we don't have, because they mentioned about people wanting to donate money, there are people leaving, they don't know how to get in touch with people, they don't know what next steps are. I think that it's important as an organizer, it's important to be concrete in what people are going to leave here tonight doing. So getting someone to say, yes, I'm setting up a Facebook page, I'm setting up a 501c3, and getting it done so that we don't come to a meeting next week and then it's the same thing. Who do we donate money to? Where do we reach out to the listening audience? I think that those things are really critical because there were people who were at the meeting last week that are not here today. And I'm sure there are going to be people that are here tonight that are not at the next meeting.
That's right. Okay, structure committee to the left there. That's 501c3 money, name, contact, next meeting.
Information Central,
please.
paying the rent to Melissa.
All of that's part of it, Fran. There's no one thing. My sister's been standing there waiting.
A 501c3 is different from setting up a bank account, which can be done in just the same day, because you have to have
on the left there. If you could, yes, please.
Okay, so I agree with the sentiments that have been made about the fact that we need to be a little bit more structural in the way that we organize going forward. I was wondering if we could maybe move or propose to have distinct working groups and approve them as a group and broken down based on some of these tasks. And I wrote a few up, and I can just tell you what I think. I'm not saying we're forming them, I'm just gonna say what I think might be a good way to divide the labor equitably. Have a fundraising committee, a legal committee, particularly because Mimi expressed needing some help on the legal front. There's certainly lots of young law students and paralegals. Tiffany Caban's campaign harnessed all this free lawyer labor, so we might be able to get some people that can help on that front. Media and press, which I believe is kind of already in the works. But that could help with the messaging, and also sort of the group that would put together the list of people that we know. I know that like my comrades in DSA have a lot of connections, as I'm sure everyone does, to more of the left-leaning media and podcasts. A coalition committee I think would be good. That's when we heard a comrade earlier speak about...
May I interrupt you just to say, no, those are excellent ideas, and we need to solidify. But I'm just...
Okay, I'll just say the names.
Wait a minute. No. I'm asking you to join on the left with people who want to work on a committee to help give us some structure.
Right, I was going to call that internal organizing. How
That's
about
us. So the internal organizing committee.
And direct action, I'm just going to say the other one, and WBAI in exile. That's all.
No, thank you. All of you great. John Brinkley, you're the last one, and then we're going to break into our committee. Okay, so let me say it again. Get on that. All right, folks, one last thing. Look, this is having worked, Bob, I see you in a second, having worked on 3 coups. It's a long and arduous process, and it absolutely means that we have to be really thoughtful and considerate to each other. There are lots of political stripes here. There are lots of personality issues, but I will tell you that for the first time, hey, 1 second. That for the first time, really, we have been more cohesive in working together than we have been in many of the decades that I've been at this station. And we got to keep it that way. We got to incorporate everybody's strength and resources And if there are contradictions that come up, we gotta figure out humane ways to deal with them, because this is a long struggle, and we have everything to win. Because I don't care if it's about housing, I don't care if it's about discrimination issues, or poverty issues, all the rest. BAI is still, notwithstanding social media, the best, biggest, longest repository of progressive media that exists in this country. And they're not going to take it from us, and it's about us getting it back and appreciating what each one of us has to bring to the struggle. So again, let me just tell you where the internal organizing committee with our sister from DSA who's going to help, and I know that DeQuay had and Nellie had all kinds of great ideas. The Riverside committee here on the big event, and I don't know that we can do much else tonight. So can we do that? And is there any absolute imperative for somebody to punctuate? I know, Bob, you would recognize. And Bob, you know, do you have anything to... The next meeting. I think the fundraising, the Riverside Church is over here. Well, I'm going to be there in a minute, so... Over here, to the right. Structure and getting it all together, all the glue that's going to keep us real and ongoing, over to the left. And direct action, Empire, 4 Times Square, and Tarrytown's a lovely place to visit. You can pick apples, and we've got colored leaves for that. So direct action over here. I don't know who it is. Let's see who it is. Bob's going to take us into our committees, Bob Lederer and Tom, if you have it.
Just wanted to highlight that the press committee that put together today's press conference worked really hard, but they need more people who are experienced writers and editors and organizers of things like press events. So if you can do that, any of that work, please, you can see me for a few minutes here. And that was basic.
By the way, not only that, we have no fact sheet to put out to the public. They don't know what's happening. So it's people who like writing and can synthesize some of this and deliver the politics. Please, 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 we need some cogent, like really good writing here. We have brilliant writers like Bob Lederer, but need help. So if folks, whether it's through the poetic spoken word and or literally writing articles. Yeah, I saw you. Long term. I saw you. I think you belong over in that corner. Structure committee on the left. Direct action in the middle. Riverside over to the right.
And talk to these guys. I've been over now we flipped one of the people. That's what happened. We flipped
having absolutely no disrespect.
That's for the
Going for being on the
so they can get us out here.
They're talking about they're getting advice from
knock out a guy named Tom
they're getting the voice from John
in Berkeley, and they're going to vote him out. They called what they name as a delegates assembly. This is actually stuff I don't know, Joe, if you want to film. This is sort of
Organizational structure.
Lisa.
Sorry? You want to know where the toilet is? No, I said you need a toilet
a tripod.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the reception.
No, they're already.
Okay.
I got rubber underwear, but I don't need a toilet.
I was hoping you
We had said that it was necessary to mobilize the maybe one of the ways to do that, one of the ways to do that is to hold forums like this around the community.
I would have to.
I've got the back section view of Queens. I know I said
What about that taxi driver guy, the red shirt?
And so that's
That guy that was over there.
I'm just proposing that's one of the things that I believe should be done.
To drive people
To
to
increase,
Sharon.
see, the problem is that we're not
I asked
paying
you
attention
about
to
stuff like that.
they didn't know what was going on, they just noticed that we didn't hear their show. And so from your part, we're listening to what's on the
Maybe
media,
they
I think
want to
it's
volunteer
coming out
to
saying.
get, you know, 20
So it is, I think it's important to take this whole issue much further out into the community. Not just down here on 47th Street, where it costs $40 to park your car.
Hey, John.